Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is Wednesday, January 4th, 2022, and 2 days into the 118th Congress, the House of Representatives has failed to elect a speaker, a new speaker, likely to be a Republican, due to infighting amongst the majority party. As it stands currently in the fourth round, now going into our fifth round ballot tally, Kevin McCarthy has received 201 votes to be the next Speaker of the House of Representatives. Byron Donalds, a Republican from Florida, has received 20 votes. Hakeem Jeffries, the representative from New York, who is largely seen as the successor to Speaker Nancy Pelosi, has received 212 votes, with one member of the House voting present. Now, as it stands currently, Kevin McCarthy does not have the votes to be elected Speaker. And we know this from the major headlines talking about how the House adjourned yesterday after 3 failed rounds of voting for Speaker or Leader McCarthy. And now we're starting to see a lot of conversations happening across party lines between Democrats and Republicans about when this actually will end. AOC says she will not help the Republican Party getting Kevin McCarthy speakership. In fact, the House Democrats have maintained completely every single vote, voting for Hakeem Jeffries without fail. All the 212 Democrats are unwilling to put Kevin McCarthy over the top, even if it means getting things done and starting this Congress. Now, the problem with our current set of procedures in the House of Representatives is that literally nothing can happen until the Speaker is chosen. Right now, all of these representatives have overlapped a day from the time that they should have been inaugurated because the Speaker inaugurates these representatives. Without a Speaker, all of these representatives are representative elects. That's why you start to see a major companies, and including ones such as C-SPAN and even the congressional clerk, referring to all of these representatives as representative-elect, not as representative or congressman. Because as of right now, they are not sitting congressmen, but rather elected officials who have not yet been sworn in by the Speaker. With 5 votes underway, 4 of them already completed, and Kevin McCarthy unable to win over more and more Republicans, we have started to reach a point where it is becoming less and less likely that Kevin McCarthy will be the next Speaker of the House of Representatives. It becomes very difficult to see how he has a pathway forward with so many Republicans deciding to move against him. As of the most recent vote, Byron Donalds, again a Republican from Florida, has now received 20 votes from the same people who were in opposition to Kevin McCarthy, the same people that have been unrelenting and unwilling to vote for Kevin McCarthy no matter how many votes there have been. And looking at the trend over time, the numbers have only gotten worse since yesterday for Kevin McCarthy, now with Indiana's 5th representative, Victoria Spartz, voting present in this House vote. Coincidentally enough, I am currently in Carmel, Indiana, right at the heart of Indiana's 5th congressional district. I've seen Victoria Spartz's office. I saw it yesterday even, and now that she's coming into major circulation and major media, it is very, very interesting, and it honestly makes a lot of sense. She's the only Ukrainian-American Republican, and Kevin McCarthy's unwillingness to fund Ukraine and fund the American support package that has been sent over before, he's unwilling to continue that into this new Congress. It makes sense that she is pulling away from him. But one thing is very, very clear. There are people pulling away from McCarthy as we get through this vote. It started off with 203. It then dropped down to 202 as of the end of yesterday, and today it's at 201. And as the 5th vote is being tallied, the 5th vote, 18 representatives have already chosen another candidate. 162 have gone for Hakeem Jeffries, and 152 have gone for Kevin McCarthy. 18 votes already. With nearly 100 left yet to go, it is very likely that by the end of the 5th round, the other number will be even higher than what it was before. And it has become very, very clear that there are Republicans there that in no reality will vote for Kevin McCarthy. Bob Good, the representative from Virginia, he was recently elected back in 2020 in a special election, I believe. But the point is that he has said that McCarthy should withdraw from the Speaker election. The fascinating thing of this all, that all of these Republicans that are voting against him, every single one of them that has been a repeat member in Congress, voted for him in 2021. So clearly Kevin McCarthy has done enough to push away some of these Republicans, and they seem to be holding strong. I mean, it is very clear that they do not want him there. And McCarthy's trying to go on the offensive. He's trying to say these Republicans are so extreme that Matt Gaetz himself, a representative from Florida who has gone under heavy media scrutiny, said that he doesn't care if Jeffries won the speakership over McCarthy. And I think that is the mentality that many of these Republicans have. It won't be enough that them as Republicans would vote for Hakeem Jeffries. But I think what they see is Kevin McCarthy is more of a threat to their party, to their foundation, to the future of the Republican Party. The future that they envisioned under someone like Byron Donalds, under someone like Kevin McCarthy. Or sorry, not under Kevin McCarthy, under a more Jim Jordan or Andy Biggs type. You have seen here that what we are finding from the Republicans, the ones that are holding out and refusing to support McCarthy, that they don't see McCarthy as the future and see him as more of a threat than 2 years of the same under House Democratic leadership. That's the crazy thing of this all. It's so intensely spiteful, but they seem to be willing to maintain it as we proceed. Again, as we talk currently, right now, we are holding a fifth vote in the United States Congress. 19 votes have already been cast. By the end of this video, I will return to this and see if that number has surpassed 21. It's such a fascinating dynamic between these Republicans, but it's one that tells us that it is, as Joe Biden has put it, embarrassing for the speaker and embarrassing for the leadership. There's also been discussion that the Democrats might try to pull a one-up on the GOP by having some of the moderates, having 6 or 7, come over and vote with them in the speakership, deciding on a moderate Republican, someone who denounced President Trump, pushed away from the election lie, and wasn't Kevin McCarthy. And honestly, I think this could be a very viable outcome. You see, the thing is, the Democrats want things to get done, as do Republicans. They can't go on these endless votes. And as it stands right now, as Bob Good has been saying, these Republicans are not going to stop letting up unless, one, Kevin McCarthy caves to an extremely high extent. And I can say now, if he hasn't already caved, chances are he isn't going to cave again. And two, another reality at which, we could see, potentially another candidate come into the mix where these moderates say, you know what, it's not going to work with McCarthy. We'd rather have a Republican and have these Democrats vote for a Republican for speaker. Chances are they aren't going to be super willing to do so, but there's a good chance too that they get the votes necessary. I mean, the Democrats would rather have a moderate over Kevin McCarthy and anything to stick it to the man, knowing that the majority that the Republicans have currently is super slim. Right? So if they can get any type of victory, and it isn't just a Kevin McCarthy, extreme type of 2 years for them in Congress, I think they would take that initiative. There also is a bit of trouble here with the fact that some of these Republicans are deciding to now remove themselves from voting for McCarthy and have committed themselves in no reality will they vote for McCarthy. Meaning that if it comes down to a point where they have to decide between Jeffries and McCarthy, there's a good chance that some of them vote present. The reason why that would suck so bad for Kevin McCarthy is because it lowers the threshold for the majority. I talked about this in yesterday's video. But as Victoria Sparks has now made the move to vote present, it is no longer out of the question that some other Republicans will join the ranks. And the problem again lies that if these 21 Republicans that have decided to vote present or for Byron Donalds decide to vote present in an eventual vote between McCarthy and Jeffries, you will find that in the final ballot, Jeffries wins. Obviously, that is not the likeliest outcome, and it's far from becoming reality. But if McCarthy is right, and what Gaetz said to him is true, which I think it is, if these Republicans see McCarthy as more of a threat than Jeffries, they may let it just happen. If they truly cannot convince themselves or bring themselves to vote for McCarthy over another Democrat, that's when it gets tricky. The point being, everything that we have seen between the Republicans in Congress, the Republicans on the national level, even Donald Trump, there is a collapse here. Donald Trump refusing to reiterate his endorsement for Kevin McCarthy. Donald Trump not influencing the outcome of this election. We have seen such a consistent pushback against McCarthy from these same Republicans who are unwilling to back him now and will be unwilling to back him in the future. Personally, I am worried for Kevin McCarthy for the future. I think it is going to get very, very difficult. And as we look at this live vote count, we're starting to tally up. It looks like we might actually end up around 21 yet again. 19 to 21. Regardless, though, Kevin McCarthy, because of the slim House majority, can only afford to lose just 6 votes. 6 votes going the other way means he's done for. He's at 222. He needs 218. If Victoria Spartz decides to withdraw herself, it's 217. But if you take her out of the equation, Republicans drop down to 221. So you can only afford actually to lose 4 to 5 seats here. 5 seats means you're absolutely done for. In no reality do you win that nomination to speakership. But it is such a fascinating debacle going down amongst House leadership. I think we are going to see this go down in history as one of the least consequential and least impactful Congresses, considering that if they are battling now, they will absolutely battle in the future. Just doing a bit of a flashback, though, in 2021, the reason why, and I didn't mention this in yesterday's video, the reason why Nancy Pelosi was so successful is because she was able to whip votes effectively leading into this race. That is one thing Kevin McCarthy was never able to do correctly. He wasn't able to get a unified front from the GOP, which is why you saw people like Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz consistently be a pain in Kevin McCarthy every single time they wanted a unified stance against the Democrats. And for a while, it didn't matter. It didn't get much media attention, even though it was absolutely happening, because Democrats were the ones in the majority. The squad was the biggest issue, but realistically, the squad was only voting against bills that they knew wouldn't pass in the first place. Yes, they had some ultimatums. Yes, they had some things where they were saying you need to do things in a more progressive fashion, but at the end of the day, the Democrats got things done. The Republicans, on the other hand, did not. And Nancy Pelosi, knowing her abilities as an effective vote whipper in the speakership, in the position as the majority leader, minority leader, whatever it might be, she was able to win her race in 2018 after winning with 220 votes. That was about a 15-vote drop-off, less than what Kevin McCarthy is experiencing now, but it sort of said bad news for 2021 until she was able to do it again. She lost 6 votes in total in this count. She was at 222. The Democrats were at 222. Only 427 votes were cast, but Kevin McCarthy got 209, and Nancy Pelosi had that majority at 218. Funnily enough, Kevin McCarthy received 209 in 2021 and is receiving less than that now. Let's do a bit of an update on the live vote total. It looks like it's going to reach 212 again for Hakeem Jeffries. It looks like it might reach 203 potentially for Kevin McCarthy. I don't know how many of the outspoken critics of McCarthy are left to be counted. Let's see here if there's any votes switching over back to McCarthy. It doesn't look like, as of right now, we are reaching any others. Byron Donalds, who is also a top name floated now amongst the GOP, actually voted for McCarthy the first 2 times, flipped over to Jim Jordan, and is now the one that is taking the face of all of these candidates. It looks very interesting here. It looks like there are some still outstanding votes for McCarthy, but still some outstanding votes for Byron Donalds. It doesn't look like that many people are going to be switching over. Victoria Spartz, they have yet to call her name. I'm interested to see how she decides to vote. It looks like another Donalds vote coming in from, not sure who just got filled in here. It looks like it would have to be someone who is closer to the end. Regardless, though, Victoria Spartz is this last vote. Hopefully, again, we get that vote counted by the end of it. But at the end of the day, the votes aren't here for McCarthy. Something is going tremendously wrong, and it only is making the Republican Party look worse. The perception on the GOP after this vote will be very, very negative. It's recoverable, and it's something that won't determine the 2024 election by any means. But it does not set up the Republicans for any type of mandate, any type of success, or any type of unified front for the next Congress. And that's something the GOP is going to need if they do want to win elections in the future, especially should they win the presidency and win back the Senate in 2024, both of which are very possible outcomes. But if McCarthy can't even handle his own group amongst an internal Republican vote, if he can't even win over the members of the House Freedom Caucus that were crucial in the majority maintaining itself, then he has a lot more work to do and a lot more fights to fight. And it's something that Nancy Pelosi, while did have fights to fight, did not have to experience on the speakership. The last time we've seen it go more than one round was in 1923, quite literally 100 years ago on the day in 1923. Maybe it's a 100-year curse. But what we have found here is that Kevin McCarthy continues to lose and lose support, continues to find his own base turning against him, even after he led them to victory in 2022. More updates on this. I don't think we'll be making many more videos talking about the speaker vote, but it is clear here that Kevin McCarthy has continued to lose support, continued to fall off from political supremacy amongst the GOP, and as Bob Good says, he may in fact be forced to withdraw, and there's a possibility that the Democrats try to pull a one-up over the GOP and nominate their own Republican speaker and vote with them in that totality. What we are finding here is it looks like we're not going to get all the votes tallied, But as of right now, Jeffries 211, McCarthy 199, other 20. It looks like there may be one more vote that is a present vote, but for the rest, it looks like they're voting down party lines. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. McCarthy needs every single vote that he can get, and as of right now, that simply is not happening. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to comment down suggestions below. Subscribe on the left if you haven't already, and check out the Instagram and Twitter. At the bottom left of the screen, there's also a Discord server for you to go ahead and join. On the screen, there's a video you can watch, and then a playlist for my 2022 post-election analysis videos. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all later today.